Y'all know I don't go looking for trouble. I'm a very peaceful man. I don't like negativity. I don't like beef. You know, even with the new rock stars thing, I will call you out for accountability purposes, but I'm not coming at nobody with no animosity. I'm not coming at nobody with no hate or anything like that. But if you step on the line, I gotta call you out on it. This was brought to my attention earlier this week, and it really bothered me. And it was a video from a popular YouTuber named Grace Randolph. Now, Grace is a movie reviewer on YouTube. You know, she does interviews. She's got a really nice following. I don't personally follow her, and that's not because I don't like her. It's not. I'm just not checking for her like that. Like I'm too busy trying to create stuff, so I don't go out looking for other people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather produce than consume. That's just me. So, you know, I've heard in the past that she says controversial things here and there. Again, I don't check for that. I don't care. I also hear that she likes to easily block people whenever anybody says anything about her. So let me just make this very, very, very clear. I'm not about to call her out her name. I am not about to try and disrespect her. I am not about to belittle her. I'm not about to do any of that. I'm going to call her out on what she says on her platform. She made a video about the rumors that she heard about Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. So this is according to her source. This is according to her information, whatever. If you don't want spoilers, don't go watch her video. Just don't. Like, if you want to go into Wakanda Forever, you know, spoiler free, don't go watch her video. But so what I did take the minute and a half portion of the clip that I found particular issue with. So I'm going to play you the clip now, and then we're going to break it down and go through it together. Without further ado, Grace Randolph.
Now, of course, a huge question will be, what happened to T'Challa in the world of the MCU? Why do we need a new Black Panther? I know many of you don't want to see T'Challa recast, but I told you that's what they were going to do, and Kevin Feige confirmed that at the last Disney Investor Day back in December, so it's happening. So I'm hearing that right now Marvel is debating as to whether or not T'Challa should be killed on or off screen. So stop having the conversation as to whether or not he should be killed off or recast. He's being killed off. The new valid debate is to how that should happen. So either in the beginning of the movie he could be killed off. I told you that I heard that they were working on a digital double for Black Panther. Now, Victoria Alonso said they will not be using a digital double of Chadwick Boseman. I believe she meant they will not be doing something like Star Wars did in Rogue One and with Princess Leia. I think that would be disrespectful, but a double that maybe he could perish from, far away. So you could just see it happen far away in a battle. I think that's how it was explained to me, what they were considering. Not that there would be close-ups or anything like that. Or the other option is that he dies off camera between Endgame and Black Panther 2. So I'm curious, what would you want to do? What do you think is the appropriate path to take? And don't say recast T'Challa. That's not an option. Would you do an on or off-screen death to end T'Challa's legacy?
Now, I want to also make something else clear, because it's easy for people to go and like misconstrue what I'm about to say, interpret it in some other way. So I'm gonna clear this up very, very early. I don't care if you disagree with the recast T'Challa movement. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem if you happen to believe that, not recasting is the best way. You're entitled to your opinion. That is totally fine. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. Okay? When I heard this clip the first time, the very first thing that jumped out to me was when she said, we can stop having the conversation. Ma'am, why? Because Marvel said so? So because Marvel said that this is what they're going to do, we should just shut up. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Really? I should be okay with this? And y'all already know I'm going to take exception to this, because whenever you sit here and talk about Recast T'Challa, I mean, hello, who are you talking to? Now you brought me into this conversation. Why am I supposed to stop talking about Recast T'Challa? Do you even know what the Recast T'Challa movement is about? Do you know that it is not about just trying these comic book characters to have their stories? It's not about that. It's that's part of it. Don't get me wrong. But the Recast T'Challa is supposed to also be a larger conversation about how we depict Black representation on screen. Nobody disputes the fact that Black Panther had a huge impact culturally. This is why this is a conversation beyond just movie stories or whatever. That's why this goes beyond just entertainment, because it's also about representation. If it was just a blanket old story that just existed or whatever and nobody cared about, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't have a petition. Nobody, we would just move on. But because Black Panther meant so much, not only culturally, but specifically to the representation for Hollywood, it's because of Black Panther and what they do on screen that proves or disproves certain myths in Hollywood that will allow us to get better representation on screen. But my issue here is the question of, why are you telling us that we are not supposed to have this conversation? Please, again, I do not follow Grace Randolph like that. I just don't. I already told y'all why earlier. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong, because of course, I got the receipts. This woman has been going hard as ever when it comes to Snyder Cut, restore the Snyderverse, interviews with Zack Snyder. And this goes back a whole long time. She got a lot of Snyderverse, whatever content. Didn't WB say many times that they were not going to do the Snyder Cut? Didn't WB already say we're not going to restore the Snyderverse? They said that years ago. They kept on saying that they weren't going to do that. Imagine somebody telling Grace Randolph, stop talking about restore the Snyder Cut. Stop talking about release the Snyder Cut. Imagine if somebody had told her that, hey, it's not worth having a conversation because WB already said no. And this is why I said earlier, you don't have to agree with Recast T'Challa or the movement at all. You don't have to agree with it. I want you to respect it. And this is something that I have to be very clear, because people misconstrue things when they don't listen. And I want you to listen. I am not going to call Grace Randolph racist. What I will say is that her conversation leads into these microaggressions that have racial undertones. And what I mean by that is, why are you so complicit? Why are you okay with not keeping the same energy that you did for the Snyder whole movement than with this? I don't care about the Snyder Cut like that. I don't care about restore the Snyderverse. I'm a comic book fan. If it happens, cool. You're going to see me talk about it. I'm going to review it. I'm in there. If it don't happen, guess what? Cool, because I don't care like that. It don't matter to me like that. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to disparage the people that actually care about it. I'm not going to tell the people who do follow it to stop talking about it. I'm not going to sit here and say, that's not a valid conversation. Why is it not valid? Why is it not valid? The problem that I have here with this is the fact that I don't think people realize the problem with trying to tell people to shut up about the Recast T'Challa issue. Why is this not worth discussing? Why is it not worth discussing how he dies as being like a valid debate, rather than preserving the character and the role that Chadwick Boseman worked so hard to build up? Why is it more valid rather than expressing how we fans would like to see the role continue in some other way? Why are you asking fans what's the best way they should kill him off? Why do we have to entertain that question? Because Marvel said so? Because that's what your hot rumor says, your hot source? Why do I, as a black man who sees myself in this other black character, why do I have to entertain that notion and be complicit and accepting of, well, they gonna kill him off. I wonder how we should do it. Hey, boss, should we lynch him or should we burn him? What do y'all think is the best option? This is what I'm talking about with microaggressions. Because the microaggression comes in the fact that you can have the cognitive dissonance to be all for the Snyder Cut and all for release the Snyderverse, despite the same studio telling you hell no. But when it comes to this black representation, this movie that has transcended just good old Hollywood stories, good old movies, it's transcended that. Now it's a whole different standard. Now we get to think about how we kill this black man for the third time. Why does that have to be the option? Why do we have to be so comfortable with black death? You know why it bothers me? Because I see myself in T'Challa. What did I say before? Are we not the paying customers? Do we not have a say as to what happens with what goes on the screen? All this talk about like, oh, I trust Ryan Coogler, I trust Marvel. I don't care about that. I believe in these brothers. Don't get me wrong. I've said it many times. Ryan Coogler is a very super talented person. I don't have to accept these possibilities. I can protest it even if Marvel decides to keep doing it. Even if Marvel is intent on killing Chadwick Boseman's character T'Challa for the third time. I can protest that. I can let you know, no, I care so much about this. We care. All 35,000 plus signatures on the recast T'Challa. There are people that care about how we are depicted on screen, that we don't want this as an option. And I want you to also think about this too. Let's just say that this rumor is true. That Marvel's going to find a way to kill T'Challa, whether it's on screen, off screen, whatever. I'm challenging the people out there who don't connect with the story of Black Panther. You don't connect with the representation that T'Challa stands for. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're from out of this country. Maybe you're white. Maybe you're Mexican. Maybe you're whoever, whatever you are. Maybe you're a woman. I don't know. Whatever it is. I'm talking to those people right here. Can you at least understand how it impacts someone else? And if you can have that level of empathy or sympathy for other people, can you then at that point not fall into this whole concept that Grace is even subtly, passively implying that we should be entertaining this and just be complicit, that we should just give up? It's fine. It's cool. Marvel said this was going to happen. Oh, well. Let me go to this. I want to go back to this clip.
Or the other option is that he dies off camera between Endgame and Black Panther 2. So I'm curious, what would you want to do? What do you think is the appropriate path to take? And don't say recast T'Challa. That's not an option. Would you do an on or off screen death to end T'Challa's legacy?
Why do we have to fantasize about that? Why do we have to come up with ways on how Marvel should kill this black character? Their first leading black character, when they're only leading black characters. Why? Why are you comfortable with that? Because it just tells a good story? The question I want people to understand, I want you to reflect on this. If you can't connect with T'Challa, I want you to think about the concept of Marvel actually going forward and killing him off on screen. And I want you to think about the problematic nature and the fact that while Marvel still wants to celebrate and honor this character and Chadwick Boseman, no matter how you shake it, you're profiting off of the death of this black man. It doesn't matter what your intentions are. The fact that you are going to incorporate his death, his real death, and then you're going to have the actors, of course, react to this death. You know fully well that people are going to be curious about how is Marvel going to handle the passing of Chadwick Boseman. How is Marvel going to deal with the passing of Chadwick Boseman? What are they going to do to T'Challa? You know that people are going to be curious about this. And they're going to run to the theaters, pay their money, and it is at the expense of the death of this black man. Are you okay with that? And I have to even question the cast. I totally respect the fact that the cast were hit emotionally hard by the passing of Chadwick Boseman. I met the guy one time in my life. I met him for like 3 minutes. And I was affected. I was on screen crying, grown man and everything. So I know the people that were closest to him, working on sets, working with him day in, day out and all that. I know that they was feeling some type of way too. But you mean to tell me these same cast and crew members and everybody involved that were so emotionally drawn and, to Chadwick and they're hurt and all that, you really want to let a year go by of healing? And I want y'all audience members to think about this too. We let a whole year go by and you're going to reenact or you're going to reopen that wound of Chadwick's passing again? For money? Nobody else see something wrong with that? That doesn't bother you? It bothers me. It bothers me because this country already has a problem with just the desensitization. Just like we're so desensitized when it comes to black men dying, when it comes to black people dying. But what I will say is that this opportunity, this instance, is playing on people's ignorance, not only on the significance of the character of T'Challa, but also the fact that we are so desensitized to black death. We're so desensitized to black men dying. I don't like the idea of this Grace Randolph lady sitting here telling us that we can't have this conversation because, and here's the thing, I'm trying to help her out. Grace, if you happen to be watching, I'm trying to help you out. Don't be a hypocrite. That's all. Don't be hypocritical. You had all that energy for Snyder, all that energy, 7 months, a year worth of energy to get your Snyder cut and all that. Some people even say you were leading the movement. If you don't agree with Recast T'Challa, that's fine. Respect it. Same way I respected yours, even if I wasn't with you or behind you or whatever, I respected it. I think you can respect us back. I think you can do that. I think that's the very least you can do. You can be indifferent to it. If you really have to. And the reason why I come after her is because she has a huge following. That is the biggest problem. When you have a huge following and you're putting this kind of message out there, you're influencing people who already don't know. They're already ignorant to make. I don't hear her talking about black issues. Does she talk about black representation? Y'all let me know. I don't watch her channel. I don't get the impression that she gives the significance of black representation. I don't get that impression from her channel. So when you sit here and you put that out there on your megaphone, it only further makes this problematic. And this is why I'm trying to say you need to cut that nonsense out. Don't tell people what they can and can't protest. You can sit here and personally disagree. That's fine. You are entitled to your opinion. But don't tell me how to protest. Don't tell me what I should and shouldn't talk about just because Marvel said that they're going to go this route. I don't care if Marvel says that. I'm still going to call it out. I'm still going to let people understand and hopefully wake people up to see how problematic this is. You're taking one of the most transcendent movies in our time, which is indirectly still going to make a profit off of the death of a black man. Did George Floyd mean nothing? I thought we all started getting sensitive. No? We was just playing. It don't matter. And the irony in all this is that people say that I'm being disrespectful by talking about Recast T'Challa. I want to recast T'Challa so I can keep Chadwick's memory alive. Because that's what happens in Hollywood. People forget characters that don't get recast. That's what happens. When you don't recast, people forget. People remember the characters that are recast. And let me just give you another soft reminder. Characters are more important than mantles. Nobody cares about mantles. Not one of y'all care about mantles. Not one of y'all care about Kryptonians. Y'all care about Clark Kent, Kal-El. You might care about Kara. You don't care about no Kryptonians. You don't care about them. You don't care about Green Lanterns. You care about Hal Jordan. You care about Jon Stewart. You care about Kyle Rayner. You don't care about the Green Lantern Corps. You don't care about 007. Not one person has ever been sitting here saying, yo, when are we going to see all the past and future 007s? You care about James Bond because characters make us care about the mantle, because the mantle is secondary. The character is primary. Passing around mantles and saying, oh, well, Black Panther, it's all about the mantle. No, it's about the character. If you knew, and don't even try and come at me talking about, but in the comics, stop it, because you don't know what you're talking about. If you talk about the comics, the source material, which does not have to be a straight up direct adaptation, but the heart, the core should always be maintained. T'Challa is always there. Even if someone else wears the mantle, T'Challa still stays there. You know why? Because it was always his story. Everybody else has their own stories, for sure. Everybody else elevates at the same time, for sure. But he's a constant. T'Challa is always there. That's why recasting T'Challa means something. That's why, like, even all these there were rumors about substitutions going to happen. Like, maybe Ryan Coogler was going to make a new character. Why are you trying to make us start from zero? What if nobody cares about this new black character you make? Do you know how much ground we're already starting this race from behind? And you want to go back to the starting line with a new character? Why? Because you think because people gonna care about the mantle that's gonna do it? There was also rumors that they were gonna give T'Challa a son. Is it with Storm? If it ain't with Storm, I don't know. I don't think I want it. I need T'Challa and Storm. So what you gonna do? You gonna have T'Challa what? Get up with Nakia? Gonna call him T'Challa Jr.? So we just lose all of the stories for T'Challa? You just gonna do the substitution game and make that through T'Challa? Why? You got a whole multiverse that you can work with. You got other stories. This is another reason why I don't like the conversation from Grace. Because what it does is it completely creates this false dilemma. It creates this false dilemma that suggests that because we can't have this conversation, it's more valid for us to discuss and debate how we should kill T'Challa rather than the multiple ways we can keep his story going. Because if you remember at the end of Endgame, he ain't dead and his story is not complete. It literally just began. We don't know how T'Challa is going to be as a king. We don't know how T'Challa is going to act when he has confrontations with other tribes in Wakanda. We don't know how T'Challa is going to act when he has an issue with his sister. We don't know any of that because y'all already sitting here trying to stop the conversation from even happening. The substitution game is not going to work because there's too much character and story within T'Challa to just throw him away. Chadwick knew this. This is why Chadwick was still signed on. Black Panther 2 was not his own. He had an option for Black Panther 3. While he had cancer, he knew and had the foresight to think about the future that far ahead. If Chadwick cared about T'Challa that much, why can't we? Why do we have to settle? Why do we have to sit here and be like, oh, well, Marvel said no. This is why T'Challa is important. The problem is people don't even realize it. They don't realize it because we're not giving the character time. Chadwick knew this. This is why he specifically told Roland Martin, and I got the video on my channel.
The value of the work really means that they live forever. And that was one of the things that when Chadwick Boseman and I were texting, this was April last year. He had been ill, but people were commenting on his weight loss. And he said to me, and I didn't reveal this until after he died, but he said in the text, I want them to see the role and not see me. He said, that is the job of an actor.
Right.
Where it's not about me. It's about the role.
Right.
And people remember the role and what you did with it.
He told him the roles I take on are bigger than myself. This is how I want people to see. I want people to see the roles, not me. So all them people that are like, anybody but Chadwick, I can't see nobody but Chadwick. You're saying he failed. You're saying he did not do his job because he didn't want you to see him. He wanted you to see the character that he portrayed. He wanted you to see that Thurgood Marshall, that Jackie Robinson, T'Challa, James Brown. He wanted you to see them, not him. It's selfish when we put him before what he believed. It's selfish. That doesn't mean we should like throw Chadwick out, with the baby with the bathwater. No, we honor and celebrate that brother all day. But we don't throw out the characters that he believed in either. But y'all say recast T'Challa is disrespectful? I'm literally trying to honor what this man believed in. When people don't want to recast, is it because of what you think about Chadwick or is it because of what you want personally? Is it about you or is it about Chadwick? If it's about Chadwick, we need to recast. We need to keep his work going. I've said this before. Chadwick should be the beginning of a legacy, not the end of it. And that legacy does not get passed down with like, oh, somebody else just get the mantle. No, that's how you start forgetting about people. That's how you stop caring about people. That's how the character gets lost in the sauce. Teaming up with people don't even know about that. Unless you're a comic fan, you don't even know about T'Challa teaming up with the Fantastic Four. That's how he debuted. Ooh, come on, we don't understand. Y'all don't understand what you guys are missing, and that is why I try to go so hard at this. I'm not over here trying to force people to agree. I just want you to open your mind. If you don't understand what representation means, just take a step back and just listen. Stop with the presumptions, because people just come in, see recast T'Challa, and they're like, oh, you just want to do this. You just read the petition. I am very, very, very specific with my wording. Watch the video. I am very, very, very clear with every single second of that video. Ask me a question. Come and talk to me. I'm open. I will talk recast T'Challa all day. All day, any day. I don't care. I will let you know. I've thought this out very thoroughly. Very thoroughly. This movement is not recast. It's not release the Snyder Cut. That was all just fans wanting to, whatever. Like, whatever that movement was, that ain't this. Don't conflate the two. They had their own personal reasons for release the Snyder Cut. They was sitting there thinking like, yo, Zack Snyder got done bogus. Yo, we want to see the rest of his story. Yo, we need WB did them bogus. And hey, all power to y'all. Same energy over here for recast T'Challa. It's about representation. It's that larger issue that's going on. It's about the fact that I don't really want to see the duplication or reenactment of Chadwick Boseman's death after an entire year or so of healing. So many people were coming at me talking about like, oh, this is too soon. We got to give time to heal. How are you going to feel if they kill this man, whether it's on screen or off screen, but then they reenact the whole moment? And Marvel about to make $1 billion some off of this man's death? When you don't have to. And that's the thing I need y'all to understand. They don't have to do this. That is why it is so important to understand what Recast T'Challa is about. This is basically trying to open people's minds to understand that there are other options. That's why I got issue with Grace Randolph, because you over here acting like we don't have options. You over here acting like we better just shut up and watch. Shut up and dribble. Marvel already said no. Oh, well. In the meantime, go fantasize about how we should kill him off. Ma'am. Sorry to hear that. He asked if BP died too. We told him no. He was relieved. He still had something to hold on to. Why take that away because of the illusion that the actor is the character and bonded for life? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is a problem. And again, that's why representation matters, right? Because there's no reason. Again, Chadwick's death is hurtful already. There's no need to double down on that with T'Challa. And like I said, you can do any other, you have so many options. You can sit here and say he is kidnapped. You can say he's on a mission in space. You can sit here and say he in the TVA with Loki. You can say he a Skrull. You can say whatever you want. You can do so many other things to address this fictional character that has leeway, rather than dealing with this false dilemma like, no, Chadwick died, so we can only kill him. That's the only option. No, it's not. Hashtag recast T'Challa. I'm sorry to hear that about your son, Jackie. And for his sake, I hope he doesn't see what Marvel might be going down in terms of the route with T'Challa. I hope they don't do that, because your 6-year-old son doesn't need to go relive that situation again. He doesn't. Nobody does. Anybody that saw themselves in Black Panther, anyone who just looked up to Chadwick, there's no reason to go relive this. There's no reason to reopen that wound at all. We have the liberty to tell different stories in different ways. We don't have to be confined to this false dilemma. Eric Shaw, brother, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. Oh man, Deadpool. We never go to see T'Challa as a true. We never did get to see him as a true Avenger. See him lined up with Captain Marvel, Sam, Doctor Strange. There's a lot of stuff we're just not gonna get. And as I've said, there's no reason that we have to settle for this compromised representation. I want to see Shuri and T'Challa rock it out as Black Panthers, as rulers, African kings and queens. I want to see both. Why can't we have both? Why is that a problem to even think that we can have both? I can't be greedy. We can't be selfish. The whole mythos of Black Panther, and unfortunately, because we haven't even gotten to that point with the MCU, because MCU fans don't always read comics, the comics they were literally created to push the boundaries. They were that was Stan Lee's intention. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby was like, yo, how can we break this, in 1966, this negative stereotype with Black characters? Were they not just shucking and jiving and talking all jive turkey, blah, blah, blah? Like, how do we break that? I know, let's make an African king. I know, let's make the smartest, like one of the smartest people in the world. I know, let's make him so powerful he could take on the Fantastic Four. Why can't the MCU keep that same energy? Push those boundaries. Force people to understand that the representation that comes with T'Challa and with the strong, independent Shuri is something that is necessary to be seen. Hey, like I said, I don't go watch her channel. That is nothing against her. I'm not like hating on her or nothing like that. I just don't check for her. But hey, people brought it to my attention, got to me, so I had to address it. But hey, one way or another, we're gonna keep this going. We're gonna keep this energy going. It does not matter what Marvel says. I don't care what Marvel intends to do. If it's wrong, I'm gonna call it out. If you still decide to go put that in your movie, I'm still going to call it out because it's a problem. And we need to have these conversations. That's why I'm not going to be shut up by Grace Randolph sitting here telling us that we shouldn't have the conversation, that this isn't a valid debate. Ma'am, excuse your face. It is a valid debate. It's a valid conversation because it affects me. It might not affect you because you don't connect with T'Challa. You don't care about Black Panther except for having a nice little fantastic story. That's your right. But what is not cool is for you to sit here and tell me what I or the 35,000 plus people can and cannot say about it as well. So please go check yourself. Anyway. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.